Hey everybody, I'm Susan and welcome to Studio SG, where every design is excellent, elevated, and always exciting. I want to encourage those of you who have not already done so to please subscribe to this channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so that every time I go live like this, you get notified of new content. Also, I want to take the time to thank those of you who have already subscribed and you've been commenting and sharing and doing all that you do to make this experience so amazing for me. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. So today, I want to introduce you to a concept of using very tall rectangular centerpieces to create shimmer wall towers, balloon garland towers, a combination of both. Just kind of any way you want to swing this thing, you can actually do so really, really quickly, inexpensively, and just in a very clever way. So here's what I'm talking about. I recently decorated for a sneaker ball. And in doing so, in putting these very tall, slender centerpiece stands together, I realized, wow, this kind of looks like something. Not only does it look great in and of itself, but it looks like it could be built into something else. Here's what I'm talking about. I ordered a pack of 10 of these 42-inch centerpieces, and they are in a gold finish, okay? Sort of a, I guess maybe like a muted type of gold. But they're super tall, like I said, and when you put them together, they're you know, pretty sturdy in and of themselves. So what I discovered is that by stacking these on top of one another, you can actually create something entirely different. You can either create a super tall centerpiece if you really wanted to go that route for like ceilings that go high, or you can actually create towers that you can run balloon garlands through and make that a whole other feature, or you can attach shimmer wall to them and make that a whole nother feature. So I don't know if this is a thing, but I call them shimmer wall towers and garland towers, okay? I have seen them sold like this. In other words, I've seen towers that come as actual towers. They're not centerpieces that you actually hook together. And so I've seen them in heights of 6 feet, 8 feet, 9 feet. That's great, but they cost a lot. Like I've seen some price tags that, you know, average into the 120s, 130s. I've seen them as low as maybe $100, $89 or so. I'm not paying that for a single tower. But if I can create that on my own using these centerpieces, that's what I'm gonna do. Because I like stuff to be cheap and sweet. All right, so let me just show you how I do that. It's really simple. This is not gonna be a long video. You take 2 towers and you stack them on top of each other. And then you simply use zip ties to, and I do have some here. I have some over there and I have some here, which is cool. I was kind of like going back and forth, but I have some zip ties and I like to use black zip ties because, you know, black is beautiful. But no, I like to use black because it's easy to sort of disguise, right? And so we're just simply going to use some zip ties and zip tie each of these towers on 4 sides. I'm going to let my camera down so that you can have a better view of what I'm doing and how I'm working. All right. All right, so guys, here I am. I have 2 towers, as you can see, that I've simply stacked one on top of the other. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure that all of the 4 corners are aligned perfectly evenly. All right, and so now that I see that that's done, I'm gonna simply take a zip tie. It's not a big deal. I don't even know how long this is. It looks like it could be about 7 inches. You don't need anything that long, but this is just what I have right now. Matter of fact, I think I have some shorter ones. So let me see if, you know what, not with me. I actually left those at someplace else. So I'm just gonna use these, all right? And what I'm doing is I'm zip tying the front, the 2 sides, and the back. Okay, I've done the front. I'm gonna do the left, the right, and the back, like I said. And as I'm tying, I'm making sure again that there's no slippage so that they're not moving apart from one another, that they're perfectly aligned. So it's just a seamless, it looks like the 2 towers are seamlessly connected together. I'm pulling them nice and tight to make sure that they don't move around. And that's it for my 2 towers. I'm gonna do this again, but with 3 towers, okay? I may have to raise my camera up a bit so you can see that I have the bottom tower, that's 1. Here's the second one. I'm gonna put those together, then I'm gonna add a third. All right, before I pull this tight, I'm making sure one more time that all of the sides are perfectly aligned straight with one another. I'm gonna pull these zip ties as tightly as I can. What I love about this is that I actually did this at my church and I think if you guys, well, I'm not quite sure if I actually showed it on the video. I know it's on the video of the service itself, but I had done this same setup for one of the clergy appreciation Sundays that we had back in October of this year, 2025. So you may be able to see that setup on the stage, but if not, I mean, you're not missing anything. It looked beautiful, but in terms of me teaching, the teaching wasn't there. It was just kind of a capturing of the moment, if you will. So I've got 2 towers stacked. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing for the 3rd tower, and then I will, let me see if I can raise this camera up to give you a better vantage point. Okay. You should be able to see that 3rd tower going up. Honestly, this is the easiest, most genius thing. Again, I don't know if I am the originator of this, but I've not seen anybody else do it. So the only thing I can say is that I got the inspiration building out the centerpieces for the sneaker ball. So it looked really good. What I did at my church for that setup for Ministers Appreciation Month was that I just did a shimmer wall tower, did 3 shimmer wall towers, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually bring in 1 last tower, and I'm not adding it to these 2 towers that I've built out. I'm actually just gonna use 1 lone centerpiece stand as a tower by itself and just show you, because like everything when it's paired in 3s, it just looks better. So we're gonna have ourselves 3 towers, one that is 1 42-inch centerpiece tall, one that has 2 of those centerpieces stacked, and one that has 3. Okay. All right, and so there we have it. We've got our tier of 3 and our tier of 2. And if you just give me 1 second, I'll go ahead and grab another one and I'll be right back. Guys, I'm back and I have those 3 different tiers that I told you about. A single tower here, 2 and 3. Okay, so what I'm thinking of doing is I'm thinking of doing a full shimmer wall setup here, some sort of a balloon garland tower here, and then maybe another shimmer wall here. All right, just so you can see how well these 2 ideas just pair together. So let me just tell you this. I did a Thanksgiving video and I'm salvaging balloons from that. So there was a Thanksgiving tree that I had set up, and I just pulled the balloons off of that. And I'm telling you right now, they're not freshly blown, but they're still here. They're still thriving with me. They're still living. They're still surviving. And I'm going to repurpose them because I'm all about that. I am an opportunist in a positive way. I like to use opportunities if they present themselves to teach. And so, yeah, we're going to repurpose these just so that you can see what can be done. If the garland is already here, I'm just going to use it. All right. So forgive the fact that it looks a little worn, but it's okay. This is just for the purpose of demonstration only. So that's what I'm going to use to create my little balloon tower here. And then I'm going to show you the shimmer wall that I have. We're working with colors of, this is white sand, but it's like, well, is it really? Because I think it's just like an ivory color that I purchased from a balloon kit. And then I know that this is champagne gold, and those are the only two colors that are in this garland. So that's what we're going to use to build out this tower. And then I'm also going to use champagne gold shimmer wall panels to go ahead and set that up as well. All right. So here are a few tips and tricks. Let's do the balloons first and get that out the way. So I'm going to move these two towers aside. I have this garland. Okay, guys, so I have this garland that I'm simply going to start threading through this balloon tower here. But before I do that, I need to clip the ends of the zip ties that we used to get rid of those. And I'm gonna clip them as closely as possible. Then I'm gonna show you just, what it looks like after that. Guys, when you are snipping those zip ties off, you want to make sure that you're snipping them down to the nub. So I want to show you what that looks like, okay? Just follow me. And forgive the camera work. I'm trying to get there without everything looking crazy. All right, so do you see how closely I nipped that off? Yeah, that's what you want. On all sides, it appears that way, okay? You'll see? It almost looks like there's no stem at all to that zip tie. That's what you want. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get this garland into our tower, okay? I'm going to start from the bottom, and I'm going to lower my camera just so that you can see more of this. My garland, the way I set it up, it's actually quite narrow at the top, and it gets broader and wider at the bottom. So I'm going to insert this through tower number 1 at the bottom. I want the most narrow part at the top. I'm going to stop here. And the reason I'm stopping at this height is because I have another garland that's just as thin as kind of what you're seeing here at the top. And I'm going to attach that to this existing piece and have it kind of come through the top, okay? At the bottom, I may need to lower my camera some more. Maybe I'll just lean it in so you guys can see. Okay, that's what I have going on at the bottom. I'm going to straighten that out because I have a larger garland, okay, that looks pretty much just like this, that I will use to sort of fan out at the bottom and create a more beefier base. All right, so this looks good to me. I like that. I'm gonna take this nice skinnier one that I have here. I'm gonna attach it to this, and then I'm gonna have it sort of shaped at the top, almost like a, I don't know, like a little swirly on top of an ice cream cone kind of thing. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. I can easily insert it from the top. And what I want to do, I already have a string sort of hanging out here from the previous installation. So I'm just going to take that string, wrap it around an existing balloon, and just kind of attach the two garlands that way. And like I said, I do apologize, but I'm telling you right now, your girl likes to use stuff that has already been used to create other things, because I don't believe in wasting anything. Okay, so, oh, wait a minute. I'm not sure I love that. Let me see if I can separate that out. Okay. So that came off, that's fine. Okay. That looks good to me so far. I've got some balloons that sort of fell off along the way, some wayward backsliding balloons, but it's perfectly fine. I'm just gonna keep adding to this garland, and then if anything needs to be chipped away, I'll go ahead and do that as well, because I don't know that I necessarily need all of this going on, but I'm probably just gonna pull a couple of pieces off of here, maybe just a portion of this, add it to the bottom. I am simply going to attach this garland, or this piece of the garland that I snipped off of that larger, longer piece. I'm gonna attach it to one of these base balloons here and extend the swag this way. And I'm doing that with a rubber band. This is such a small garland that rubber bands can really do the trick and hold them together quite securely. So here's what I have. I have a garland that starts way up there, and I'll show you that whole upper piece, and then I'll show you how it swags down and comes back around, okay? What I also want to point out is that the garland tapers off on both ends. So it tapers down here. It goes from small to large, large to smaller, and it makes its way all the way up to a smaller size. So let's just back the camera out and take a look and see what this whole thing looks like. All right, guys, we're coming in for a close-up. I want you to see what this garland looks like from top to bottom, head to toe. It starts off very tapered at the top. It swells towards the middle and the bottom, and then it tapers off again. Okay, take a look. Do you see that? It fills out the entire tower, lends some room at the bottom. All right? But that's the look. That's the look. So let me just add a few floral pieces in there, and then we'll finish that off and we'll move on to our shimmer wall tower. Okay, everybody, here's what I've got going on. I've completed this balloon garland tower, and now I just want to throw in some florals just to kind of make it look like something. So what you'll see me doing is actually adding a few pieces. I figure I kind of broke it up visually. I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces going on here, and you'll see me as I attach them. I will define those pieces for you. But what you'll also see, and again, I just kind of threw these together very quickly. I'm using ivories and one dark, very, very muted. This is actually brown. I know it kind of looks black on screen, but it's brown, a very deep, rich chocolate brown. I threw some golds in there as well. I know that we have the champagne gold, but I have a brighter, more brassy yellow gold that I'm adding to it just for visual contrast. I've also got some white, let me see if you can see them all. I have some white eucalyptus leaves here, as well as green, as well as bronze. Okay, so those different colors are in here. You've got your creams, your whites, your golds, and just a little bit of green for foliage and effect. And so you'll see even in the backdrop, I've got cream curtains, white curtains, gold curtains. So everything goes, right? That being said, I want you to notice the size of these floral pieces. So it gets bigger as you go to the bottom, smaller as you're at the top. So I'm going to start with this at the top and then kind of build out, put this on the bottom. And then I have some pieces that are equivalent. They're kind of like the middle between this one and this one for the middle sections. Okay. All right. All right, so I'm doing the whole handheld version of the camera thing right now because I need to pan so that you guys can see what this balloon garland tower looks like from top to bottom. All right, so here it is right next to me. We started off at the top with a smaller floral accent piece, and we're moving our way down, and I hope that you're capturing, or at least that I'm capturing this correctly for you. Okay, but as we move our way down, you're gonna see that I've actually added that larger centerpiece to the more wider bulbous part of this balloon garland. And then over here, it's a smaller piece, but you'll see that looks really, really lovely. It's a great accent. And that really is all you need. And let me tell y'all, guys, we did that on a budget because these are recycled balloons from my Thanksgiving tree. And we're also looking at centerpieces, okay, that I've simply attached with zip ties to create this tower. You can do it. It's not hard. I'm telling you, you can make amazing, amazing setups and backgrounds for next to nothing. I hope this tutorial helped you. I'm coming to you with the shimmer wall piece next. I am back and ready to rock with that shimmer wall tower. I did, however, want to note one thing. So I used black zip ties to connect the towers together. What I would suggest is that you probably want to paint those zip ties out. If you can spray paint it out to the color of your stand, that would be great, because then you don't see the actual zip tie standing out. Now, because I didn't cover this tower in any way, and the only thing I did was insert a garland and some floral pieces, you can see, and I guess I'll show you on the close-up, the zip tie here, it's black, but if I wanted to, I could just touch that up with some gold paint, some paint that you would use for like artwork or something like that, or if you wanted to kind of spray it out just so it camouflages. All right, now that I've said that, I have put in front of you here this 3-tier tower. So we're gonna do a whole shimmer wall tower there. And then we're gonna put the whole thing together and just kind of see what that looks like as a presentation. Because like I said before, everything looks better in 3s. Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Okay, I'm gonna clip my zip tie ends off. And again, I'm telling you, clip them real close so that you don't see any of the tails hanging off. Takes just a few seconds, but it makes a big difference. And you're going to want to go ahead and kind of paint those out. Or if you can find, in this instance, gold zip ties, which I don't know where I would find that, that would be great. Otherwise, you definitely want this camouflage. But I'll tell you this, for this particular setup, you almost don't need that, because when you add the shimmer walls to them, you'll be covering up all the zip ties anyway. You won't see them. All right. So let me grab my shimmer wall panels and more zip ties, because that's how we're going to connect them to these towers. So like I said, we have a champagne gold and off-white or ivory color scheme going on here with our garland tower. So we're going to use champagne gold shimmer wall panels. Okay, you see how pretty that is? That's amazing for a wedding. That's great for a birthday party. It just looks so lovely. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop these panels out, and then I will come back to you with all of my panels already open, so I'm not spending time doing that on camera. And then we're gonna go ahead and talk about the technique of actually connecting these to your tower. And it's not just this 3-tier tower, but remember, I've got my little man here too, okay? So we're gonna attach shimmer wall to him as well. You notice how I assign genders to my centerpiece towers? Lord. Thanks for sticking with me on this design project. I have my handy dandy zip ties and my champagne gold shimmer wall panels all ready to set up. So a few tips. I have a 3-tier tower and a single tier tower, 42 inches. It's important to know those heights and those measurements, because of the fact that we have 12-inch squares for our panels, right? And so that just tells you, right here, we're looking at, and I'm just eyeballing it, but I kind of want y'all to see that this is basically about 3 shimmer walls high, okay? So just eyeballing it, I can tell you that. I can also safely tell you that because I've actually done this tower, like I said, at my church. So I know that it fits 3 of these perfectly. So when you're doing a 3-tier tower like this, what you need to do is start from the top and make your way down. So you're guaranteed to use 3 of these on each of the different stacks. So you'll have a total of 9 for this 3-tier tower. 9 panels for this 3-tier tower. However, Anything less than three tiers requires you not to start from the top, but from the bottom, okay? And the reason you're doing that is because if you don't start from the bottom, you will find yourself with a gap, okay? And it'll be about that much of a gap at the bottom. You don't want that. So all this will be pretty, but then you'll come down here and you won't be able to fit another shimmer wall because it'll require like half of a shimmer wall. So you want to start here and build, or better yet, start from the bottom, okay? Make sure your shimmer wall is leveled at the bottom and then make your way up. And what you'll have is a slight overhang at the top. And that's perfect. All it will do is heighten this tower maybe about 4 to 6 inches above what it is. And that looks fabulous, but everything will be covered, okay? So let's just start with the 3-tier tower first. I'm gonna grab my ladder, and then this will go relatively quickly, and then we'll just keep working from there. We'll put everything together and you'll see what the whole ensemble looks like. All right, guys, I wanna show you something, okay? Before I attach this panel to that tower, let me just show you that on the back of my shimmer wall panels, because I don't know what yours look like, there are these holes right there. I don't know if you can see them, right? But I'm gonna point to them with the zip tie. They're right there on either side. So that's what I'm threading these zip ties through. And then I'm going to attach it flush to the actual tower itself. So what I mean by that is when I go ahead and I install this first one, it's going to be flush or at the same exact height as the height of my tower. There's not going to be any lips or overhangs or anything like that. That way I know for a fact that I'm only using 3 of these per tower. Okay, all right. We are on our last, final shimmer wall tower. It's just one of those centerpiece stands. So like I said, we're gonna start from the bottom because we wanna make sure that the bottom is fully covered. There will be a slight overlap on the top. That only makes things better, all right? So just kind of watch me do this. Like I said before, once you start applying the panels to the actual stands, you'll only need a few of these. So we're gonna start at the bottom, like I said. And actually, this will be the bottom. How's that? We'll flip it when we're done. right, everybody, this is it for me. I'm done. I feel like I need to leave well enough alone. I've put up 2 shimmer wall towers, 1 garland tower, and I feel like together they make a really, really, really nice set. So let me just step out of the way so you can see what's behind me. The final touches were just little floral accent pieces. And again, like I said, there was nothing to do with the shimmer wall towers except put up those panels and walk away. I used a couple of zip ties, literally 2 for the 3-tier tower, and I used 6, oddly enough, for the 1-tier tower because that one, because it's, I don't know, because of the height of it, the total height of it, it does require you to have an extra lip on the top. So when you're doing that, you're having to sort of tighten it up in multiple places so it doesn't belly out, right? That being said, I'm gonna step out of the way, but I do wanna say that I had a lot of fun doing this, showing you how it's done. And I gotta tell you, this was not a labor-intensive project by any means. I have been through some things with some projects, and I've been very honest with you guys about that, the trauma and the drama behind the scenes, off camera. That didn't happen here. It was super fun, super easy. I can honestly see this taking maybe about 45 minutes, to set everything up. Once you have all of your little supplies and tools and whatnot, you're all set and ready to go. I'm Susan, this is Studio SG, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit that bell so that every time I go live like this, you get great content like this. I'm gonna show you everything in all of its glory. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. I'll see you next time.